Taylor. Today we have a recovery and stretching workout. So after we work out and do some of those harder workouts like cardio dance or HIIT, things like that, one of the things that we often miss is doing recovery and stretching. And recovery is actually one of the most important parts in order for your body to be able to stay in motion and keep doing the types of exercises and things that you want to do. For instance, if you ever experience lower back pain, sometimes that's because we have really tight hip flexors or glutes, which are those big muscles all in this area. So it's always very important to get everything stretched back out. So today we will be doing some stretching. I have some yoga poses in here. I'm not a yoga instructor. This is a yoga workout, but we will be incorporating some of those poses throughout. And before we get started, if you have a mat, you can grab it. You can also do this just right on your carpet, right on your floor. The mat is nice. We will be on our knees for a couple poses. And so sometimes that's nice to have a little bit of padding under your knees. If you don't have a mat, you could also use a towel or something like that to give some cushion under your legs. But like any other workout, before we get started, we do always want to include a warm up because we don't want to be stretching cold muscles. So if you want to grab your mat, and then we'll go ahead and get warmed up. All right, so today for our warm up, we're just gonna start with the slow butt kicker here. You're gonna bring the heels up right to the booty, and you should start to feel a nice stretch. If you drop the chest in just a little bit, you can feel a stretch right in the front of your quads here. And once you're feeling good, you can add in some arms here. So, like I said, the point here isn't to get your heart rate up necessarily. This is more really just to get those muscles warmed up a little bit so that we're not stretching cold muscles and cause more injury. So, maybe just a few more here. You might feel your heart rate start to come up. That's okay. We'll bring it back down when we go into our stretches. And from here, if you want to go into a high knee march and a twist, so what that looks like, bring the knees up, use the core, pull the knees up high, and once you get that marching motion going, you can bring in an upper body twist. Make sure your eyes are going in the same direction that your upper body is going, and you should feel a nice twist here. Spine, the core, really starting to warm up that core area. Make sure you're breathing here. You always want to start your controlled breathing right at the beginning of your workout. Sorry, you can hear my feet hitting off my mat. Also, I'm not wearing shoes, I didn't mention that. You can wear shoes if you want to, or you don't have to. All right, from here, go ahead and bring it to a step, and you're going to reach over top, and you should feel a nice stretch all the way down your side body here. More. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go into a half squat here, a plie squat. So go ahead and point the toes out about 45 degrees to the walls, and you're just going to bring in a small pulse and stand. Once you feel good with that, you can bring in a reach over top and stand. Reach, stand. So here, warming up the quads, the inner thighs. Let's go ahead and stay down for 1, 2, 3, stand. 1, 2, 3, and stand. Let's do one more of those. 1, 2, 3, and stand. Keep the legs nice and wide, but bring the feet forward. And you're just going to little half lunge, side to side. Again, you might feel a little pull down the inner thighs here, and maybe a little in the quads. Those legs should start to feel a little bit warmer. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, scoot the feet forward in. And you're just going to reach to the floor and stand, reach for the ceiling, and reach for the floor. So at the beginning of this workout, you might not be able to reach the floor, especially if those hamstrings are really tight. That's totally okay. Hopefully by the end, we will have brought some length into those hamstrings, and maybe you will be able to touch your toes. But you never want to force it. You always want to give your body nice, plenty of time to warm up. Let's go for 2 more like that. 1, last one, and stand. From here, go ahead, bring the arms just forward across the chest. If you want to bring in some movement, you can. All right, and give me a couple of shoulder shrugs here. Rolls, 3, 2, and the other way. 3, 2, and 1. All right, shake it out. We're going to go ahead, ready to get into it. We're kind of going to go starting with the lower body and work our way up. So our first ones, most of them are going to be standing, but we'll easily transition. So we're going to go right into lower body and we'll get right to it. Okay, so we're going to start with some lower body stretches. So I want you to get a staggered stance. Your feet should still be about hip width apart. And once you get into that staggered stance, you're going to slightly drop the back knee and you're going to alternate between a hamstring stretch, and when we stand, your back foot is going to hit the mat for a calf stretch. So you're going to kind of alternate here, and then stand here. If you can't stay in this bent position, you can come up. Whoops, might lose a little balance there, but you're just going to bring it to almost a runner's lunge, drop the calf, and here. So let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, this back knee, you can drop it right to your mat and stay in this low lunge. And go ahead, bring your hands over top, and you'll feel a nice stretch in your hip flexor, which is that big muscle that runs from almost your hips all the way down to your quads. Nice job. If you want to, you can drop the hands and lift your back leg. That will bring the stretch even a little bit deeper. So let's just stay here, maybe a couple breaths. You sink in just a little bit more. And from here, go ahead, drop that back knee again, and you're going to twist. So open up the hands, twist towards your knee that's forward, and you're going to feel a nice stretch in your core. You can look that direction too. This should also deepen that stretch in your front hip flexor. And let's take a couple big deep breaths here. Nice job. Okay, so from here, we're going to go into a pigeon pose. So your front foot that's forward, you can drop it into a figure 4. So this front leg will stay straight, and then your back leg, you can either keep it active with your knee off the mat, or you can let it drop. Since we're still fairly early on in our stretching, you might not be able to get that deep, and that's totally okay. But if you are super flexible and your glutes are not tight, you might be able to bring it down to an elbow, or even put your forehead on the floor. For me, I'm definitely feeling tight, so I'm going to stay up here for just a few breaths. Nice job. And if you want to bring it a little bit deeper, you can. All right, and when you're ready, you're gonna go ahead and transition into a down dog, just so that we can bring your other foot forward. So whichever, you can go ahead and drop your knee. So whichever foot was forward before, now we're just doing the opposite. We're gonna do all those same things on the other side. So go ahead and bring it up into your split stance. And we're gonna alternate. You're gonna keep that knee down, catch your balance, and you're just going to reach, stretch through that back calf, reach, and once you get the flow, let's just stay here for a few. Nice job. Three, 2, and 1. Drop the back knee, go right into this lunge here, bring the arms up to deepen the stretch. If that's too much for you, you can keep them here. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can also lift that back leg. are. Make sure you're breathing. You're doing great. Alright, you go ahead and drop that back leg. Can't remember if we did this before or after, but you're going to go ahead into that twist here, and then we'll end with our pigeon. Stay here for just a few more. It's really nice to open up that core. If you can't even twist back a little bit more, you can. And go ahead and bring it back center. We're going to do the same thing. You can drop that knee in, bring it across, and you can either keep that back knee on the ground or you can keep it active. So again, my glutes are pretty tight, so it feels good for me to stay up here, but if you want to, you can always deepen it by going to your elbows. And let's breathe here. And you can unfold that, bringing it back to your down dog, and now you can walk your hands in towards your toes and stay in this forward fold for a hamstring stretch. So now that we just did some other stretches, you might be able to reach a little bit further than you could before. When you're doing a forward fold, imagine your chest coming onto your quads. So if it helps, you can grab behind your feet and still reach for your mat. And let's just go ahead and walk it over to one side. You can walk it to the other side. One more each way. All right. And from here, you're going to go ahead and stand, and we're going to do a stepping crossover, I guess. So step, cross, and reach, open, cross, and reach. So when you cross your feet over like this, you just can get a little bit deeper into that stretch. If one side feels more tight than the other, you're welcome to stay there. Just go for a couple more. Let's do one more each way. Last one. And reach. Go ahead, open up nice and wide, and we're gonna go into a yogi squat. So if you can, maybe this is good for you. If you want to, you can bring it down nice and low like this, or you can, stay up in a half squat, whatever feels good for you, but you should feel a nice stretch right here. If you want to, you can rock it from side to side. Another way you could do this, you could stay up and reach, switch in, get some upper body that way too. But let's just stay here for about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and walk them in, and we're gonna move to some standing upper body stretches. Okay, we're going to move into some upper body stretches. So I want you to start with just some big arm circles forward. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and reverse right into the other side. Not the other side, the other direction. Nice job. And go ahead right into the other side, forward circles. Really bringing in some shoulder mobility. One more. Other direction. Last one. And go ahead, bring one arm across the front of the body. You want to either grab above or below the elbow, not right at the elbow. It's a joint, not a muscle, so you want to grab above or below so we don't put pressure on that joint. Feel a nice shoulder stretch right between those shoulder blades in the back. You want to keep your shoulder not up here, you want to keep it down out of the ear. And from here, bring the same arm up and over top, and you can make a cup with your palm right, and your elbow can link right into that little cup you made. Pull down for a tricep stretch. So you should feel a nice pull right along the back of the arm. Nice job. Breathe. And release it. Go ahead and bring the other arm across the front of the body. Nice job. So again, like any other muscle, you might feel it more on one side than the other. Totally okay. Really keep that shoulder down out of your ear. Let's hold it for a couple more seconds here. Same arm comes up and over. Make that little cup with your palm and slightly pull down. We don't want to force this, so if you're feeling like this is too much, just release it just a little bit. Great. Breathe. Okay, and from here, go ahead and clasp the hands behind your back. You can flip with your pointer fingers down to the floor and pull slightly upward. If you're feeling good, you want to bring in for some more hamstring work here, you can drop the head, or of course you can stay right up here. Now go ahead and cross the arms in front and let the chin drop to your chest. And bring the arms right out front. And you should feel a nice stretch right between those shoulder blades. Nice job. Okay, release it. We are going to move down to your mat. So go ahead and find a little bit of space, and you're going to walk into a hamstring stretch here. And when you're ready, walk the hands out and find a high plank. Maybe you're in a high plank, wherever you're comfortable. And when you're ready, you can drop the chest to the floor and slightly go up into an upward cobra here. This might be enough for you. You might feel a nice stretch in your lower back. Maybe your back is a little more flexible and you could bring up to an upward dog. If you want, you can stay here, or you can go ahead and release down and bring it up. Every time you release and go back up, you might be able to get a little bit more extension. Let's do one more. Very nice. Okay, from here, we're going to bring it to a tabletop position, and we're going to a cat and cow. So what that looks like, for a cow, you're going to drop your belly, let the chin come up for a cow, and then you're going to drop into a cat where you arch your back. Let's go for 3 like that. 1. Of course, this can be at your own pace. If one spot feels really good, you're welcome to stay there and catch up with us later. Let's do one more like that. Nice job. Bring it back to a neutral tabletop. Bring the feet slightly wider, and you can sit back on your heels. We're going to go into a child's pose. So go ahead and walk your fingers out in front of you and let your forehead fall to the floor. You should feel a nice upper back stretch. You might feel some in your quads and your hip flexors. When you're ready, take your hands to one side of your mat You should feel a nice pull in the side of your body. Walk in the other direction. Back center, child's pose. One more time. Can you inch those fingers just a little bit further? Very nice. And when you're ready, go ahead and meet me in a butterfly position. So your heels are going to come together, bottoms of your feet are pressed together, and you can use your elbows to press down on your knees to get a nice inner thigh stretch. If you want to, you can grab onto your toes and slightly bring your chest forward, or you can stay nice and seated. If you want to flap the butterfly wings, you can. All right, nice job. Go ahead and bring it into an Indian position, and we are just going to do some neck rolls and neck stretches, and we'll finish out with corpse pose. So go ahead and just bring in a couple neck rolls. And go the other direction. And choose one side, and go ahead and bring your ear down to your shoulder, and whichever side the opposite, you can keep your hand down on the floor. Go ahead and switch sides, same thing. So a lot of things that we do are in this position. We're looking down at our computers, at our phones, we're reading a book. And so a lot of times our neck doesn't get to go in these other directions. So this always feels really nice. All right. And we are going to finish out with 5 big deep breaths in corpse pose. So you're going to go ahead and just lay out on your back. You can allow your lower back to come up off the mat. You can allow your feet to fall out. Hands, palms up to the ceiling, and just close your eyes. Take some nice big deep breaths. Very nice. And when you're ready, you can bring it back into a seated position, or you can stay down in your corpse pose for a little bit longer. But thank you for joining me today. I hope you're feeling a little bit recovered and got a nice stretch in, and I'll see you next time.